bump. Oh,
Bump.
bump.
Bam,
Bump.
bam. That
Okay,
is
so
a
you dropped.
173 and 0.
That is 173-0. Bendy, it's gone national. Everybody around the baseball fandom is hopping onto this 162 plus theme, and the way that the Dodgers are playing, Greg, the fact that they are not actually playing all that great and still winning makes it seem like it is all that more likely. And we are now welcoming on our dear friend Marcus Grant, who joins us. So let me go ahead and get us all on cam. But good morning to everybody. How are we doing? Let's see if I can get the right.
All right. While you're doing that, you don't have to talk through it. I can take over for it for you, Parker. Don't worry. And all those people that are saying,
"Hey, there I am."
There you are, Marcus. All those people that are saying 162 and 0 are just wrong and false and incorrect in all senses of the word, because I am taking over Alano Rizzo's narrative. They're going to go 173 and 0 because they do have to win those 11 games in the playoffs. So 162 and 0, incorrect. 173 and 0, correct. That's where we're going here today.
I like it. I mean, obviously, there's no way they can ever lose a ball game. Here it is. They go out and they play they were awful last night. Let's be frank about this, right? I mean, the errors, the Muncy errors were the things that kind of got highlighted about what happened last night. But Blake Snell was not particularly sharp. Struggling to consistently hit his spots, find the strike zone, had a number of walks. The bullpen didn't give up any runs, but Ben Kasparius was in trouble when he was in there. I was able to fortunately work through it. The offense, I think for the most part this season, it's been good when it's needed to be good, but they still haven't had one of those games where they just completely wreck the opposition pitching. Obviously Shohei with the big home run last night, but I think we're still waiting for him to fully sort of get going. He has not turned into a full-on Avenger just yet. Freddie Freeman's played 3 games. Max Muncy, I think we're still looking for him to really get going. I mean, the game-tying double was great last night. But, I mean, Greg, this team has not played anything close to its best baseball, and yet here they are at 8-0.
Yet here they are at 8-0, and there were so many things that you talked about in there, and it's important to get to pretty much all of them. But you're right; they have not been playing all that great. They have to come back a decent amount. It's not that they're just running through everybody. But the fact is, and we go back to it over and over and over again, Oral Hershiser said it best on one of the games. I think it was Saturday against the Tigers. The game is just too long for the opposing teams. They are going to get to you eventually, and that's what they did it again last night. We saw it over and over again. Look, Max Muncy has not been good. You were talking about it. He was not good. He was bad defensively. He was bad at the plate. He wasn't doing anything. He looked at his torpedo bat and he said, "Screw this torpedo bat." Threw it away. Brought out the real bat. Still swung and missed at a middle 93 mile per hour fastball, and then a pitch or two later just went middle, the double to the middle and tie game. They're going to just get to you eventually. And none of these guys, it's not the top of the order guys. Yesterday was only about the guys in the middle, the Confortos, and we'll get to Conforto in a little bit, the Conforto and Edman and even Will Smith. It was those guys that were getting it done and bringing them back. And you just never know who it's going to be on a different day.
Yeah. So let's just give the audience a view into kind of our Blue Review chat quickly, just to kind of talk about the vibes of this whole, we're kind of talking about this theme of they're not playing great, but you're also not worried. It's a dangerous place to be in, but also the way that this Dodgers team works, you're there. Everybody's there. So we all text each other just like, oh boy, not looking good. Even Steven Nelson said on the radio on 570, putrid was the word he used. But then we text each other all, and I guess I should just pull it up. I remember my text specifically saying, oh boy, Angels legend Rafael Iglesias is up. I believe in the comeback. And I think that was in the 8th when he came in. Let's see, Greg, your text was...
You got to go back.
Yeah, I got to go back that file.
Snell.
Because your tweets as well were all of... let's stick with your tweets. I love that everybody was saying it's over. And Greg, early in the game, you were like, wouldn't be so sure about that. Snell basically didn't have a good game, but I'd still not be sure. I'm confident.
Yeah, so basically what I said was, and I can pull it up, but it was we were talking about it, and one guy on Twitter was like, Greg, it's over. Like, matter of fact, this is what it is. It's over. But what I said was, oof, terrible outing by Snell and the defense behind him. Why do I feel like this is the type of team that this game is nowhere near over? And the guy says, Greg, it's over. I'm like, I'm saving this for later. Right after, right, right after Tommy Tanks hit the 2-run home run. And look what happened. You just can't count this team out, Marcus.
No, you can't. And I think part of it was, they got down 5-0, but it was the second inning. To quote wise baseball philosopher Larry Grant, if baseball games were 2 innings long, the Dodgers would have gotten their butts kicked last night. I mean, that was kind of the way it worked. But the fact that it was the second inning, that they have so much offense, you can't ever really count them out. I will say, what inning was it? The fifth, sixth? Whenever it was, they got first and third with nobody out, and then Mookie lined into the double play because Andy Pa has just had a brain freeze over at third base. That moment I was like, oh, maybe it doesn't happen tonight. I don't know. But even then, I wasn't fully for sure closing the book on the game. It was just like, all right, well, maybe it's just not their night. I don't know. But, you keep watching because you just don't know what's going to happen. The fact that, Max Muncy, after having, won an awful game, but a really poor start to his season, comes through in a huge spot. As you mentioned, Michael Conforto hitting the home run, Tommy Edman continuing to be apparently the greatest man alive, just making things happen, both offensively and defensively, because I know we're talking about his bat right now, but what he has done for this team at second base over the last couple of nights has been equally as important. I mean, had a big play that saved a run, ended an inning and saved a run defensively in that game last night. So right now they're getting contributions from just about everywhere. And like I said, Freddie Freeman has played 3 whole games this year. He's going to come back. Max Muncy is going to get hot. Pages is going to hit. I mean, these other guys are going to start to step up and contribute a little bit more. So, if I'm the rest of the National League, I am just sick to my stomach to watch this team sort of flounder around, and yet nobody has figured out how to beat them yet.
And think about it this way too. It's like the bullpen had 5 innings of no run ball, and I think they had 1 walk in that time. Look at the guys that they went out there and threw. They threw out Ben Kasparius for 2 innings. They put out Kirby Yates, who's one of the main guys. He put out, which, by the way, his splitter is just devastating. Mm-hmm. Nobody is touching that pitch so far this year. And then I guess if he talks to some of the Japanese guys that have the amazing splitters as well, he could even make that a little bit better as well. And then they went to Jack Dreyer. They didn't use any of their normal dudes besides Kirby Yates, and they still got 0 runs. So towards the end of the season, those guys may not be a huge part of the bullpen, although I love Ben Kasparius. I think he really showed something in the postseason last year, and he has been nothing but a dog this year. Jack Dreyer came out of basically nowhere. I just remember we talked about it, Marcus, a little bit towards the beginning, maybe in the first week of spring training, they're keeping Jack Dreyer on this roster for a reason and not bringing some other guys back. So he must be something, and he's showing who he is. So if those guys are just going to be this great in the bullpen, I don't see where the losses come in, especially if the offense is hitting at a good clip. I don't normally speak highly of bullpens. Right now, very much so. I am.
Well, the thing is with bullpens, real quick, bullpens are great until they aren't. Right.
Sure.
And you don't really always know when it's coming. It's like things are going along, and then all of a sudden the bullpen will go a week where it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what combination of guys you use. It just doesn't seem to work out. But right now, I mean, Parker, these guys are getting it done in every single way.
Yeah. And I have similar sentiment. I was just going to mention how it's an absurd run. Never before has this been done in MLB history, where the team starts out 8-0 and 6 of those are comeback wins. So the fact that they're able to hold, and this is, again, 8 games in, bullpens are as great as they are until they aren't, like you mentioned, Marcus. But enjoying this run right now in the moment is something that, again, baseball fans have never had a chance to do so. And I know that we're going to get into we got to nitpick every single episode, right? So we're going to get into a lot of the game, and we'll finish off with how the game finished off. But right now, let's get into Snell a little bit. Greg, it obviously wasn't his best outing. What did you see, and just were there any positives that you were able to take out of his performance?
Well, yeah, I mean, he gave up no earned run, so it wasn't completely all his fault in that sense. So yes, he had a lot of bad defense behind him, especially coming from two guys. And I really do want to get to Pajes in a little bit because there's some stuff about Pajes that we need to talk about. But Pajes dropping balls in the outfield, running through stop signs. You had, obviously, Max Muncy was terrible defensively. There was just a lot of stuff that was going on behind him that wasn't great. But Snell is the type of guy that he does walk guys. He does have traffic on the bases. He's somebody that has those situations, but he typically gets out of them and he doesn't give up that big hit. Last night, he did. I mean, it's just one night, but when you have guys behind him, you're not finding the plate as well as you normally do. You're going to have a tough night. So he gave up a couple of doubles that brought in some runs. They were unearned, but he still gave up a couple of those doubles. And I think that's where you kind of looking like, okay, wasn't your best outing. Now he got hurt by the defense that was behind him, but at the same time, he wasn't as sharp as he would have been. And I think that's going to change moving forward, Marcus.
Yeah, I think so. I think, but also because of the way he pitches, and that was one of the things you texted last night, Parker, is that like you're still adjusting, you're still getting used to how Blake Snell operates. I also think he's one of those guys who, from night to night or start to start, will be impacted by who's behind the plate. You know, who the umpire is going to be, because he does like to pitch around the edges. He likes to sort of nibble at guys, and so if you are working with an umpire that's not giving you those corners, right, it's going to be a little bit of a tougher go. And look, let's be honest about this. The Braves are off to an awful, miserable start. It's still a good team. They still have lots of talent on this team, and this team's going to get better. I mean, the Dodgers will see them again. They go to Atlanta right at the start of May, and I'm not sure who's going to be back, but there's a good chance that, Ronald Acuna is back or close to coming back. There's a chance that Spencer Strider could be back by the time the Dodgers see them again. I know they're 0-7, and I know they have the misfortune of playing in what's a really good division. They got to deal with the Phillies. They've got to deal with the Mets. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if we look up at some point during the season and the Braves have ripped off 8 out of 10 wins or something like that. So it was good that the Dodgers kind of got them right now where they were and took advantage of it. So credit Snell for battling through under less than great circumstances. I think when you talk about him giving up those doubles, I mean, you got guys like Marcell Ozuna, Matt Olson, Austin Riley. They got hitters on that squad, and he was still able to, all things considered, limit the damage to a point. And I think that's something to kind of take away as a positive.
Look, Atlanta is a really good team. I know they're 0-7, but they've lost to the Padres and the Dodgers. Atlanta is a really good team.
The only two undefeated teams left in the majors, by the
way. Right. Now, luckily, they played that's who they played. But either way, they are a really good team. They're going to. I would put money that they'll be in the postseason at the end of the year. Although I was talking with Travis about it before his show, he was saying that no team has ever started 0-7 and made the playoffs in Major League Baseball. That's wild to me. That's wild. So,
and their best free agent signing is
suspended for 80 games. So
yeah. It's a nightmare out there for.
I watched the video. I watched the video about Jurickson Profar yesterday, and it was really, really funny. For the first 10 years of his career, he did absolutely nothing. He was actually really, really bad. He got traded from. He got DFA'd from the Rockies, and the Rockies have been bad.
Yeah.
So he got traded for a guy named like Austin Adam, which nobody knows who that is, and it just like. And then to turn around and all of a sudden he just is fighting people and hitting massive home runs and going from getting a $1 million contract to like a $45 million contract. Are we surprised that he got picked up for PEDs? Like, is this real?
I think the other part of it is when the suspension came down, the guys, the first reaction is always, well, I'm going to appeal. And at least I'll get to play. He didn't even bother to appeal. He was just like, yeah, you caught me. Like, I'm gonna sit this out. I will say also, though, after him making a couple of ridiculous catches against the Dodgers in the playoffs last year,
Mookie
fine,
especially.
bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right. Whatever.
Yeah, no, no worries over here from in LA land. But yeah, somewhat hilariously, just encapsulating this whole Dodgers season. Last night, Snell's ERA actually went down. So, like you said, none earned. He did have those 2 scoreless frames, and while the first 2 innings were, yeah, kind of nightmare innings just overall with the team, everything turned around. But a little bit on those nightmares in those first 2 innings, you, Greg, wanted to get into Paez. The chat
Yeah.
is saying your new villain.
Oh no, what does the
We
chat say?
have
Oh,
it
villain.
labeled
Ooh.
Yeah, he
Andy
might be.
Paez.
See,
Reactions?
yeah, reactions. Do I want Paez to be my villain? I mean, he has a really good shot to be. I don't want to do it just yet. It's still the first week of the season. I want to maybe wait another week or two to see how the guys are starting to play out. I don't want to put all my eggs into one basket right now. But Paez is absolutely at the top of the list of being the villain. And you know what that means? When you become my villain, you turn out amazing. So
Yeah.
I think that's like the reverse jinx or whatever, the motivation from the blue review and being a villain. If that's what makes Paez better, then I'm all for it. I'm just not ready to call him my villain just yet. He needs to drop about 3 more balls in the outfield or run through 2 more stop signs because he did it once. He's already done it once. I think he did it in Japan where he ran through a Dino Evil stop sign to go home, and he was safe, so it all worked out. And he went first to third going through Dino Evil, and he was safe, so it all worked out. Even though he got picked off right after. It's like, you got to learn how to run the bases, and you got to learn how to play defense on this team. And also, hey, maybe get some hits at the same time. So, yeah, Pajes is at the top of the list, but I'm not quite ready to do that yet.
Well, after last night, at some point, I texted you guys, like, the word of the day is Toot Blonde, because, you know, you had Pajes run through, you know, or at least not pick up Ebel, get, you know, somehow barely make it into third base, then gets picked off on the double play. You had Conforto, who just made the turn at second and was out by a good 20 feet.
What was
and I'm like,
doing?
and I'm just like, is Ebel camouflaged over in the third base coach's box? Like, I don't know what's happening, why guys aren't seeing him or anything like that. You know, with Pajes, Travis made a good point yesterday on this show that the soft spot in the defense is going to be basically where Tommy Edman is not, right? When Edman's in second base, the soft spot is going to be in center field. When Edman is in center field, the soft spot's going to be in second base. So I do think, while it is early, I think it's something that Andrew Friedman in the front office is keeping an eye on, because, look, at some point, they're going to want to tighten up somewhere. They're going to want to make sure that they have you know, a solid defender pretty much at any spot that they can. Maybe it means Haesung Kim gets a call a little bit earlier than they had anticipated to sort of fill that spot at second base. You know, I don't know what they do potentially in the outfield if they make Edman, try to make him more of an everyday center fielder. I'm not really sure, but, you know, Pajes is, I think, in a situation where, Greg, if he's not hitting, then it does get really hard to have him in the lineup, you know, and when I say hitting, I don't need him to hit 280. You know, if he can hit 260 and give them occasional power at the bottom of the lineup, I think that's good enough to sort of cover up the flaws from what he brings defensively.
No, absolutely. And that's why they went out and they got Estuary Ruiz, who is super fast, good outfielder. He does not hit either. So that's kind of the problem. Kind of feel like a Kevin Biggio type from last year, where he's, you know, he plays a decent defense, can kind of play on multiple positions and has some speed to him. Kevin's, you know, not the fastest in the world, but still has some of it. But that's what basically why they got him. He's going to be in AAA. I think that he eventually, if Pajes does continue to struggle, they might bring him up to try him out and see if the speed, if he can just get on base, maybe fix some things around him so he can swing at the right pitches like they like to do to some of these guys. And then if he does well, it just seems like that's the only reason you go out and get center field, to what you're talking about. Andrew Friedman going out there and actually like grabbing a couple of guys, but they'll look. They are going to find somebody, and they have enough guys in AAA that could also come up as well.
Yeah, it's the fact that they're willing to make changes, even though they're just winning nonstop. And I think that it's because they're looking at it the way, you know, we're looking at it. When things are going as good as they are, but you're not really playing to your potential, it's unique in a sense. Also, I wanted to do a quick shout out, and this is a complete side note. We mentioned Dino Ebel. Shout out to his boy, his son, Corona Centennial, #1 high school team, I believe, in the nation, and they could do something that's never been done before in July in the next draft. They might have 3 first-rounders. So
Wow.
shout out to the Huskies
Nice.
over there down in the IE. Come on now. But back to Dodgers.
Right. So I see something in the chat, and you know what, I'm going to give him credit because this is something that I wouldn't think that he would be. Dead Meow is trying to be a producer right now, and I love it. Good for you, Dead. He's putting out some stats that I didn't know these stats. He says the St. Louis Maroons in 1884 hold the record for the best start in Major League Baseball history, going 20-0 to begin the season. In the modern era, since 1900, the record for the longest winning streak to start a season is 13-0, achieved by the 1982 Atlanta Braves, 1987 Milwaukee Brewers, and the 2023 Tampa Bay Rays, starting a season 13-0. I don't remember the Rays.
I don't remember the Rays
13.
at all. Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
I mean, they've been good for a little bit, but that's in 8-0. That's 6.
Yeah,
I mean
that would be something when you look at the schedule that's coming up. I mean, today's an off day, then they go to Philly. They got to deal with the Phillies for 3 games. If they somehow sweep that series, then they go to DC. If they can somehow sweep the Phillies, then I think that's very much in play.
Yeah, if they can sweep the Phillies, the Phillies is going to be a very, very tough series, no matter what. I think they're like 4-1 or 5-1 right now, so they're still a really good team, and they're perennially in the playoffs. So might be a little tough. There's also something I was talking to Travis and Emily before, Travis and DeMarco, and the record for wins in a season, including the playoffs, since earlier we talked about going 173-0, is 125 wins, and it was by the 1998 Yankees.
Yeah,
they won
it was the Yankees.
Yeah, it was. They won 114 games, and then they won 11 games in the playoffs. So they went to 125. But there's also a crazy thing that they were talking about, that if you have the most wins all time, you don't win the championship in any sport. The Boston Bruins didn't do it when they did it a couple of years ago. The Warriors didn't do it at 73-9. And the 116 Mariners didn't win either. Yeah. So don't get 117 wins.
So stop at like 115 just to give yourself some padding. Be a little bit safe.
Right. Stop at 115. Just start playing the minors, playing the minor league guys.
Right.
Go NFL. Yeah, go NFL. Just no need to start Mookie and.
Oh yeah, by the way, 17-0.
Oh yeah,
didn't win that either.
Patriots. Yeah, they finished 18-1 that year. Yeah, sorry about your luck.
Eli Manning, the curse of Eli Manning.
That was a win. I still say that was a win for America. That was for all of us, because Patriots fans would have been even more insufferable had they somehow gone undefeated that year.
Well, I mean, slowly but surely, the Dodgers are becoming the evil empire, but. I was listening to Clinton Friends, and I know that Clinton Friends on ESPN, I know we're running low on time. I think he said it best. This is just so good for baseball. If you were kind of losing interest, if you were, whatever your case may be as a fan, if you want some sort of reason to enjoy baseball again, watch the Dodgers. Like we've said this whole episode, they're not even playing good, and then they're walking off. It's just so exciting every single night in, night out. Great.
It's if you're watching, I understand that if you're not a fan of the Dodgers, you're going to hate this because they've spent so much money and they got all these great guys, and it's constantly just bringing in more and more people and getting Kirby Yates and Tanner Scott and everybody else, and bringing in Michael Conforto and all those people. It's not fair, but they are just fun to watch. They're going to get hits. They're going to pitch well. They're going to get around. They're going to hit double. It's going to be just fun to actually watch. So anywhere you are, if you're not a Dodger fan, watch the Dodgers because they are just fun.
And if I'm a network executive, hate watching is still watching.
100%.
You can. I don't care if you're watching to see the Dodgers fall on their face. I just care that you're watching. And I think if you're baseball, if you're a network executive, that's what you love, is that, there's a bunch of people who are watching because they love the Dodgers. There's just as many people, or maybe even more, who want to see the Dodgers fall and fail. And I don't really care. I don't care what your reasons are. I just want you to watch it.
And you know what? The same goes for Blue Review. Come hate watch the Blue Review. By all means, help us out here. But that'll do it today for the Blue Review. On behalf of Corporate Greg and Marcus Grant, Greg Bergman and Marcus Grant. I've been Parker Bell of the Blue Review. Dodgers, no game tonight. They are back tomorrow in Philly, like we've mentioned. It is Yamamoto on the bump against, I believe, Jesus Luzardo. So going to be a good pitching duel. I'm really excited to see Yamamoto again. And then we got Sasaki out in Philly over the weekend. So a lot we're going to react to, not just tomorrow, but Monday and moving forward. So come on back to the Blue Review every day, 8:30, 8:55, weekdays, that is. We will be back tomorrow. Thank you very much. And
and thank you, LAX.
Thank you, LAX. Change our arriving daily. I thought I had a producer back here with me, so I was expecting the song to come, and it's just me. All right, see you guys.
See ya.